Thank you, Teresa, and the Historical Museum, and thank you to the Mountain Club for that Via Ferrata piece. I'm here with Dr. Alan Safdi. Alan, thank you very much for coming in and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to talk about gastroenterology, and we're going to talk about your work in health and wellness. But I'm first going to ask you a question that we like to ask a lot of our guests, which is, what's your Telluride story? How did you come to find yourself here in Telluride?
That's an interesting story. 30-something years ago, I've been married for 41 years, and we went everywhere to ski. One year my wife heard from somebody, let's try Telluride. And the mountain village essentially didn't exist then. It was maybe 32 years ago. And we came here. We've never skied anywhere since. So we came for the winter. Now we love the summer, even more so than the winter. We bought a place up in Mountain Village, and there's only a few buildings here, no gondola, no hotels, and we love it. We love this small town atmosphere.
Came for the skiing, stayed for the summers, the falls, the springs.
Yeah. And as the older I get, the summer is more attractive to me than the winter time, although I love them all.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you mention this issue of aging, because I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But first of all, for those of us who aren't in the know, particularly about what gastroenterology even is, I know it has to do with the digestive system, with disorders and health of the digestive system. So I guess that's everything from where you put the food in to where the food comes out and everything in between, right?
It's almost all parts of your body. Even the heart we're interested in, because that can affect the gastrointestinal tract, or the gastrointestinal tract can affect your heart. So we deal with the esophagus, oropharyngeal area, stomach, intestines, liver, pancreas, spleen. So everything below the diaphragm, all those organs, but also, I trained in nutrition.
Right.
So
and they go together.
They go absolutely together. Unfortunately, gastroenterologists have gotten more attuned to just doing colonoscopies and not sitting down and talking to people about what are you consuming, how much are you exercising, what can we do to prevent disease, not just treat disease.
Because it's those organs that are processing and extracting all the nutrients and giving you your energy.
Right, and we have a significant increase. I can look at your liver function test, but now we have a significant increase in fatty livers and abnormal liver function tests, secondary to foods we eat, and not in Telluride, but other parts of the country, increasing weights that we're noticing. We have ultra-processed food. So we're not only interested in diagnosing and treating pre-existing disorders, but at least in my focus has been, how do we prevent disorders, including not just gastrointestinal tract disorders, including dementia, including heart disease, so including every part of your body, even looking at osteoporosis and decreased bone density and osteopenia, not enough bone density.
So we actually put together a little series of talks by Dr. Allen and his sidekick, Dr. Bill, on dementia, on preventative measures that can serve to help reduce the risk or reduce the incidence of dementia. And we're going to show one of those after this interview. But for now, I want to talk about some of the things that you've talked about with us here and on that series about health and wellness as it has to do with nutrition. I have a friend, a man who lived well into his 90s, who said that the keys to a healthy, long life for him were blueberries and compromise. And I thought it was classic. And I wonder how much you subscribe to that theory.
Blueberries is one of probably the best fruits that one could consume, absolutely. It doesn't have to be a blueberry. It could be a blackberry, it could be a plum, anything with these anthocyanins in it. And those decrease. We have a study that giving a placebo of blueberries versus true blueberries. We have to make it into a powder because you can't have a blueberry placebo. You'd be like chewing a marble. You would know what you're eating. So we have to have it in a powder and put it in a pill. But even after 16 weeks of the blueberries, the cognitive function improved in humans, not just our rats or mice, but in humans. So this individual is absolutely correct. And compromise, decreasing stress levels, not worrying about everything you see in the news. That's one of the benefits of being here. I don't hear the news all day because my commute is walking or biking. When I drive to a hospital, my commute is listening to Sirius radio and I'm listening to the news channel. So
I think a lot of people discount this whole holistic approach because they think it's so much mumbo jumbo, mysticism, but it seems to me that the mind and the body are just inextricably bound, that they affect one
Absolutely.
another.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the populations that live the longest in the world, they predominantly plant-based diet, not solely, but some of them are solely, like the Seventh-day Adventists, solely plant-based diets. They exercise, not necessarily in a gym, but as you do in Telluride, you exercise by walking from a gondola to a gondola. You know, your whole life is consistent with regular activity. But the social interactions are extremely important in all those populations. Right. The older people are revered, not discounted, so which to me is really important right now. The older I get, I mean, they look to people that have wisdom, and they're incorporated into the family structures, and they don't have a lot of stress. You know, some of them do yoga, some of them do other things, but they decrease stress levels by the compromise. And interestingly, 2 out of 3 of the larger populations have empowered women, which I think is extremely important. And listening to, you know, having all portions of the population being listened to.
I remember listening to a speaker at one of the mountain film festivals who was talking about the blue zones, these places where people tend to have the best longevity. And there was a particular community in the Mediterranean, I can't remember if it was Italy or Greece or somewhere, but there were certain component parts of their diet like oregano and sardines and olive oil that seemed to be important. But one of the most important factors was that they all came together as a community regularly, like every day. And they came to a taverna or whatever it was, and they drank red wine together, and they had a really, really good festive time on a very regular basis. And that was just part of their lifestyle.
Fun and decreasing anxiety.
Yeah.
You know,
and
even,
intergenerational.
Yes, bringing everybody together. Even when we get out and do forest bathing and we're taking a walk here, our cortisols go down, our blood pressure goes down. Our blood pressure goes down with exercise, bringing people together to decrease stress. You know, often that's very important, and we discount that completely. And unfortunately in medicine, we don't have time to look at every aspect of somebody's life that we really should be looking at. We get paid when you get sick. I don't get paid when you're healthy, which is the exact opposite to what it should be.
Well, before we go to this clip of yours on dementia, I'd like you to, if you would, talk to us a little bit, just as an oversight about how diet, nutrition, exercise can serve to eliminate the incidence of dementia.
There's lots of things we can do. Let's just look at exercise initially. Those in the top quartile of fitness in their 50s may have, depending on the study, 25 to 50% decrease of dementia in their lifetime. Those that take in good healthy nutrients, the anthocyanins in the blueberries or the blackberries or the strawberries or the plums, may have a decrease in regards to dementia in those groups. So those are extremely important. We know, at least in animal studies, that if we incorporate cinnamon into the diet, it actually helps neuroplasticity, the ability for cells to talk to each other, and that's what we run. It's so cool, all these different things. Turmeric, as long as you get one that's not watered down with lead, so that they, and there are some problem with some of the Bangladesh ones right now, you know, may benefit. You know, Agarwal and Gregory Cole are doing things in regards to dementia and cancer prevention with spices like that. So it's extremely important to exercise. You release brain-derived neurotrophic factor that make your cells talk to each other better. We can grow new cells. We always thought, I'm the smartest I'm going to be, you know, when I'm a kid, and every year I'm going to lose cells. But as neurons, cells in my brain. The hippocampus and memory areas can actually increase in cells. So we have rats.
Looking forward to that.
Well, it works. I mean, we have rats that, you know, you can teach to do weightlifting. Hard to get them to balance a barbell on their hands, but actually you tie weights to them and they go up an incline. Or interval rats that go very fast on a treadmill, are ones that exercise continuously for long periods of time. All the rats develop new cells in their hippocampus and the memory portions of the brain. The ones that exercise continuously for longer periods had new cells teeming in the hippocampus or the memory portions. You
know, as you're talking, I'm remembering something that always strikes me as a little odd, and that's that when I was young, there was the common wisdom was that certain foods really had very little nutritional value, including mushrooms, including watermelon, and including celery. Those are the ones that I remember, which now seem to be on the other end of the spectrum as some of the most important things you can eat.
Well, it depends on what nutrients we know we can't take nutrients out of a carrot. and make you healthier. And that was one of the first studies I was ever involved in, and unfortunately probably hurt people rather than helping. We said, okay, beta carotene, we'll put it in a vitamin and we'll decrease the incidence of cancer. No, we increase the incidence, and the cancer cells need nutrients too. So extra nutrients in regards to vitamins, there's certain vitamins we may need, such as vitamin D, but judged by your family doctor. But a lot of these megadose vitamins are very harmful. And then we discounted mushrooms. Mushrooms may be extremely good for cognition. Not just any mushroom actually is, not just lion's mane or cordyceps, but it's basically every mushroom we look at. Some are better than others, but every single mushroom may be better for the brain. Certain products like celery may have nitrates in it that convert to nitrites, which convert to nitrous oxide that lower your blood pressure. Just because it didn't have calories and we couldn't find a specific vitamin. We always look for a vitamin. And if there's no vitamin, forget it. But there's thousands of phytochemicals, beneficial chemicals that we totally ignored in everything.
It's fascinating.
And it is fascinating. I mean, every day I learn so much, and I'm really passionate about it.
And you can learn more because of your diet and your exercise.
Well, there isn't probably a day out of the year that goes by, unless I'm stuck on an airplane somewhere to go lecture, that I don't try to exercise.
So tell me this, Alan, is there something coming up in the way of integrative wellness or health and wellness, another symposium, because you've been involved in a few here in Telluride? Is there something on the horizon that we could give people the heads up about?
I would love to do some more free ones for the community. Cool. We just had one at the library last week and last Wednesday night, and we packed the room without even advertising. Just people that have come before when we did the integrative wellness ones with Deepak Chopra and other people that were here in town. And I'd like to give back to the community and do those on a regular basis. Sit down and discuss topical things that came out in the news and why they may be wrong. I mean, we've done lots of studies to show. There was 101 studies many years ago we looked at, and look at them a decade later. Only 5 of those studies really meant anything. We were wrong 96 out of 101 times. So we're wrong a lot. Why do I write a free newsletter that anybody can get if they contact you? I mean, it's free. We don't accept advertising or anything else. It's just something I do as out of interest. It's because often I have to change my thoughts in regards to, just as we did before, mushrooms are worthless. No, mushrooms are beneficial. Celery.
Facts are facts until they're not.
Yeah.
I love that about The Evidence Is In, this little series that I was talking about before, because as you say at the outset of that, this isn't for any personal gain. It's not for you to help you in any way financially or with publicity. It's just to give the facts as the evidence comes in, to let people know what that evidence is. Listen, we're gonna have to go now.
Okay.
But we will show the clip so that people can get a sense more of what you're talking about. And I want to thank you very, very much.
We will have 3-day seminars next year at times. So it depends on Telski if they'll give us a room.
We'll get the word out.
And I love doing this, so I'm happy to do or volunteer as much as possible. I volunteer all over the world, but it's much nicer to volunteer where I have a house.
Alan, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.